sure.
And before the press conferences even start. I mean, we could talk for 45 minutes just about how atrocious the defense is.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Trending in the AM right here on DSM Media. We're live, as always, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube. You know the drill. Smash that like button, share button, retweet button. If you want to interact with the show, head over to the YouTube page to interact there. It's the easiest way to get your comments as these examples up on the screen heard so that I can hear them, I can comment on them, I can answer your questions and whatnot. It's also the best place. Hit that subscribe button, hit the thumbs up button. We are 10 subscribers away from 500. The road to 500 is almost over. It's been a long journey, but I want to get that subscription page up to 500 so then I can start pounding the pavement to get us to 1,000, the next major milestone on YouTube. I am Phil Stifer, your host at Bearded Knowledge on Twitter, and I'm joined again. We decided to run it back. My special guest co-host from yesterday, Joe Bucci, he decided he wanted to come back for more. So Joe Bucci is back at Joe Bucci, SB52, Bucciadelphia on Twitter. What's up, Joe? How you doing today?
I'm doing great. How you doing, Phil?
I love the shirt, the Clearwater shirt, man. That's a fantastic shirt to be wearing on a Philly podcast. Absolutely love it.
I appreciate it. You know, I'm Philly 4 for 4. I did the other two yesterday, so I figured I'd go with the Phillies.
You got the Philly shirt on, you got the Flyers hat on, and you got the Dawkins jersey behind you. But I don't see any Sixers stuff anywhere. You got to have something Sixers. Then you could be showing the full 4-4. And just so you know,
I know
I'm not a 4.
I'm working on it.
I'm not a 4-for-4.
Oh no,
I'm a 5-for-5. Because you got to throw the Philadelphia Union in there, the actual best team in Philadelphia.
Okay.
You know.
Agreed.
I got my Union gear sometimes to wear too. So anyway, we are brought to you here on Trending in the AM by Manscaped, the leader in men's grooming products, the GOAT in below the waist maintenance. Make sure you check them out, manscaped.com. Use promo code DSM. That's DSM at checkout. It gets you 20% off, free shipping, and lets them know that Team DSM is doing their job. The leader in men's grooming products, everything you need there to keep your grooming in check there, and your women will love that, and will appreciate that. Make sure you check them out. Anyway, Joe, we got a jam-packed show today. Yeah, Mark's already checking in too, loving your shirt as well. I love it. I've seen that shirt all over.
Appreciate it.
I have not bought one yet, but I do love that. Love it. Good morning, Mark. Can't wait to see you on Monday. Hopefully we got you back on Monday. So we got lots to talk about today. I wasn't sure where we were going to go today at first. And then I was thinking about yesterday's show and all we were talking about yesterday. And then I put out a Russell Wilson tweet yesterday. And all shitstorms started to happen on Twitter because of my Russell Wilson tweet. And then I started thinking more about yesterday's show and the conversation we were having on yesterday's show. So I want to go back to yesterday's show a little bit and reiterate some of the points I was trying to make that I think were misunderstood, but also continue on this Russell Wilson talk, which, as I titled the show on social media platforms, do we really have to talk Russell Wilson again? We do have to talk Russell Wilson again because of the reaction that the post I made got. So we're gonna do this whole long drawn out conversation here. So Joe, first off, backtracking. I was talking yesterday about Howie Roseman's lack of a contract after this season. The rare feat of a lame duck general manager. It never happens. And everyone, and I was trying to talk about how it would affect his decision making this offseason. And I don't know where the conversation went, but it kind of got off that. I was trying to focus on the fact that it would affect his decision making. And I think we kind of agreed that it could, it might not, who knows, but it kind of veered off that path. And I want to talk about it because then PFF puts out a tweet yesterday, and they put out a tweet about a proposed trade. This is not something that actually happened, just what they think could be a trade that would get Russell Wilson into Philadelphia. And I shared a picture of it, and it's Russell Wilson to Philadelphia. The Eagles send out they didn't say which one of their first round picks of this year. They have 3 of them, so one of them, and their 3rd round pick, okay? Plus 1 first round pick next year. And that's it. So basically, one of your 3 picks, you still then have 2 other first-round picks.
Right.
And your 3rd-round pick, you still got the 51st or 52nd pick in the 2nd round, and your first-round pick next year. Now, obviously, there's so many people that are for and against Russell Wilson to Philly. And the whole conversation yesterday about, Howie Roseman and making decisions, without, that job security going into 23 and further ahead. First off, getting Russell Wilson, whether you agree or don't agree, would be the type of move he would make that would kind of create, a win now kind of move, especially that proposed trade. And that's what the whole conversation was yesterday. That's what the conversation of posting that tweet yesterday was about, is that's the kind of move. First off, if all you have to do is give up 2 first-round picks for Russell Wilson and not even Jalen Hurts, first off, that's not what's going to take. It would take way more than that, in my opinion. But if that's all it takes, and Howie Roseman's forced to be in a win-now kind of mode, how could you say no to a deal to bring in a Pro Bowl level, not elite anymore, but still top 10 NFL quarterback to a team that just made the playoffs?
Right.
And that's all it's going to take is 2 first-round picks? Why are there so many people against this move? I don't understand it, because let's be honest. I mean, Russell Wilson, he'll make you better tomorrow. He'll make Devontae Smith better tomorrow. He will make, Quez Watkins better tomorrow. And people saying that Russell Wilson's not a good quarterback anymore, he's on such a decline, or his injuries. First off, he was only injured last year. He's never been injured any other time in his career.
True.
I don't get the distaste for Russell Wilson. I mean, he is a Super Bowl winning quarterback. He's 33. He'll be 34 at the start of the season. I just don't get it. Joe, I don't know what your thoughts are on this. And eventually we're going to go through some of these comments that I got on my tweet here. So, what are your thoughts on everything I'm saying here?
I'm the ultimate optimist. I like to play both sides of the ball. I like to hear everybody out and everybody's opinions. But he is a little long in the tooth. But so isn't a guy like Aaron Rodgers. And how many teams are going to be beating down the door to try to bring him in? Some of these teams that are, a quarterback away from taking that next step or winning a title, like a San Francisco. But if you put a guy like Russ on the Eagles, they'll absolutely be better. I don't know if that takes them to a Super Bowl. But the fact that you can still keep those other picks, if that deal is close to accurate, I don't see why you wouldn't do it. Because what is Hurts' ceiling? How high is Hurts going to go? We don't know that yet, obviously, but I think they say he's regressed. Well, 25 touchdowns and 6 interceptions last year. I don't see that as a regression. Seattle's offensive line is not very good. Seattle doesn't really have a consistent running game. They have a top receiving core, obviously, but I think there's probably some other things going on there. Maybe he wants to rebrand himself. Maybe he wants to get in a different city and see what things are about. See how he can promote himself. I mean, he's married to Ciara, so maybe she wants to go to a bigger city. Maybe she wants to promote herself more. The decisions they make now, they have kids, so they probably want to do more of a family decision rather than, what does Russ want and what does Seattle want? We don't know that. We really don't know. But if you're looking at the Eagles and putting them in this situation, we were 9-8 last year with Jalen Hurts, who was very inconsistent, and they still won 9 games and they still made the playoffs. And we see how weak the NFC East is. Who's to say, we don't match that number this year with a Russell Wilson and win another game or two. Not saying Super Bowl, but actually win a playoff game and look like this team is headed in the right direction.
Yeah, and I want to backtrack again, because again, I am a Jalen Hurts guy. I'm the one that said Jalen Hurts didn't earn 2023 or 2022's job by default. I think he earned it by progressing. I am a Jalen Hurts guy, and I'm on record saying I would not be trading 3 first-round picks or this massive package to get Russell Wilson.
Right.
I had people in my comment section saying, you trade all this for Russell Wilson, you become a 7-win team maximum. I'm like, come on, guys. We're talking about Russell Wilson here. And it's simple here. I love George's comment here. It's simple. You are willing to trade 2 years of Super Bowl hope for a potentially decade if they make the right pick. Yes, I am. Because there's no guarantee. If you run with Jalen Hurts this year, and George, for those that don't know, George wants to trade 2 of the first-round picks into 2023 so that, we are best set up to go after a quarterback in 2023. There is no guarantee that the quarterback they get in 2023, if Jalen Hurts isn't the guy, is going to be any better than Jalen Hurts. It's a crapshoot. We've been talking on so many different shows about trades lately, about, because of the James Harden trade, and about baseball and football and basketball trades made in the past, and how many prospects were untouchable because these can't miss young kids. There's no guarantee the quarterback you get in 2023 is any better. So then you just mortgaged,
Right.
you just got rid of 2022 for 2023, and then 2023 it's not going to happen. So then you're looking at 2024. Then who knows if it happens? Look at all these teams around the NFL that have been bouncing from quarterback to quarterback to quarterback that can't find the Jets of the world. These teams that are just bouncing quarterback to quarterback. There is no guarantee that the next quarterback is going to be the guy. Or we thought Carson Wentz was going to be the guy. He wasn't. You know what I mean? There's so much, in the future when you have a chance to go get a Pro Bowl level quarterback, a guy that's still a top 10 quality quarterback in the league. You have a chance to win this year. And I'm not going to call him out. I know he doesn't care, but I got told that somebody was punting on 2022 already. All right, and it was just the wrong choice of words. It wasn't that he was punting. He just doesn't care about the results in 2022 because he's so focused on 2023 already. Just wants to see growth in 2022. You can win in 2022 with Jalen Hurts, and even more likely with Russell Wilson. If this PFF deal goes down, you still have 2 first-round picks. You can improve your defense. You can get an edge rusher. You can get a cornerback. You can get whatever you need. You still got the 51st pick. I know they got about 20-some million in cap space right now. But if you listen to Jimmy Smith on the road to victory, and I'm a big fan of his stuff, and he's really good with his cap stuff, there's a very high likelihood they can have upwards of $50+ million in cap space. So even if you've got to spend 15 to 20 million of that, because I'm looking at Russell Wilson's contract right here. He is on the hook for next year, it's 51 million over 2. So what's that? $25.5 million. So then that still leaves you with $25 more million to go out and get a Marcus Williams, an Allen Robinson, whoever you want to go get.
Right.
The NFC, first off the East, you go get Russell Wilson, you're winning the NFC East next year with the cap space and the other picks you have. Even if you make minimal improvements, this team was 9-8. Even if you run the exact same team back and you put Russell Wilson as the quarterback, that's good enough to be a little bit better than what Jalen Hurts did. So you're going to win the NFC East. And then on top of that, improving the team. Then you go ahead and look at the rest of the NFC compared to the AFC. Where's Aaron Rodgers going to go? If Aaron Rodgers goes out of the NFC, that's one less team. Tom Brady retired. The Buccaneers are a mess. The NFC is wide open. You got the Rams, mostly will be run back, most of it. You got the Cardinals, maybe. You got San Francisco, probably. Outside of the NFC West, there's no real threat in the NFC. So the Eagles could easily have a home field first-round playoff game by winning the playoffs. You win that. Who knows what happens in the second round, who you play. The NFC this year in the playoffs didn't play out how anybody expected it to play out. So to just say that 2022 is an over season and you're just looking forward to 2023 is forgetting about the fact that the NFC is wide open. You can make a run. Worst teams than the Eagles have made runs. And if you put Russell Wilson on it, you just improved your opportunity to make that run. That's why this trade specifically, again, I'm not giving up the farm. I'm not punting on 3-4 draft picks for him. But you can get him for 2 first-round picks. I think it's a slam dunk move that has to be made. And that's not me overreacting, give away the, whatever to get Russell Wilson here. I think it's a logical move that, especially tying it all together, Howie Roseman in a lame duck situation is absolutely going to make, if it means another major winning season to put on his resume if he doesn't have that job security lined up.
Agreed. I agree, Phil. I mean, look at obviously the Rams were, I think, overall in a better position to win
Absolutely.
this year, but Matthew Stafford was a really good quarterback in Detroit. He was on a very bad team, but nobody knew what to expect from him, making that switch. And look what they gave up for him. Look what the Rams gave up to acquire a Stafford who's never really won anything. And we're having this conversation about Russell Wilson. He's going to be a Hall of Famer, and he's won a Super Bowl before, and he was one play away from winning another Super Bowl. So, if you don't have to, mortgage all those draft picks, and you can, you're going to have cap space to fill your other holes. You know what you're getting. You already know what you're getting. You already know what you're getting in a quarterback.
Yeah,
you don't have to worry about it.
There's no guarantee with there's no guarantee with 2023 or 2024, but there is a known commodity. We know what Russell Wilson is, and quarterbacks nowadays that protect themselves. And Russell Wilson, he was injured this year, but it was a fluke hand injury. Okay,
sure, right.
Because of a bad offensive line, which we don't have. We have a great offensive line. He's adorable. He's a mobile quarterback that has learned to protect himself, and he has not taken major hits throughout his career. He's a known commodity at 33, 34 years old. He doesn't have 2 more years left. Maybe he has 2 or 3 more years left at that top tier playing level. But a lot of quarterbacks played till 38, 39, 40. And some of them I'm not going to say Tom Brady, but Drew Brees played pretty well. Peyton Manning played pretty well into his 40s. You could play at 30. You could potentially be getting Russell Wilson for 4 to 5 years, at a fairly decent, playing level. So what do you prefer, Eagles fans? Do you prefer a known commodity over maybe getting something good in the future? And I think that's the problem here. People are either I don't understand it, because it's not like the people that are against the Russell Wilson trade. And like I said, I've got 20 comments here on this. Some are for, some are against. It's not, and I follow all these people very closely. I know what they say on my timelines regularly. Some of them are the ones that are against Russell Wilson are against Jalen Hurts as well. So if you're against Jalen Hurts and you got a chance to get Russell Wilson, I could see if you're like a super over the top, Jalen Hurts could be a top 10 quarterback eventually, surround him with talent. It's something that I actually slightly believe in, actually. But if you're anti Jalen Hurts, how can you be anti, Russell Wilson as well? Because you need a quarterback to win. And the unknown of 2023, 2024, 2025, that's so far away. You don't know what's going to happen. We talked. I talked Phillies trades on Friday with Jason. The Roy Halladay trades, the Cliff Lee trades. The prospects we gave up, the untouchables, and the fact that none of them, Kyle Drabeck, this superstar minor league pitcher, can't touch him. We got rid of him finally. He never played he barely played. Michael Taylor, he was an untouchable outfielder in the Phillies minor league system. Had 4 at-bats in his career in the major leagues because he was that bad. Mm-hmm. We could never trade Dom Brown. Dom Brown was terrible. You got a known commodity. And again, I want to say this trade is not going down because there's no way it's only going to take 2 first-round picks. But according to PFF, if this is what the trade was, would you take it? The people that say no because of not wanting Russell Wilson, it's insane because all you're giving up is 2 picks, basically. 1 this year and 1 next year. That's it. That's the problem that I'm having. Not about bringing Russell Wilson or not. It's the fact that people don't want to give up 1 pick this year and 1 pick next year to get Russell Wilson. That's the problem.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. I totally agree. I mean, you know what you're getting in a guy like Wilson. You know what he's going to do for this team, what he's going to do for this organization. And he instantly makes players better. That's just the kind of football player he is, leader he is. That's the guy you want with the ball at the end of the game.
Absolutely.
Because he's gonna make a play. he's not the biggest guy in the world, but it doesn't matter. It's about winning and have that winning mentality. Um, having he's clutch. He's a clutch player. Um, and I mean, I would love him on the Eagles. I would love him on the Eagles because
Right.
he would, solidify that position. Like you said, he's extremely durable. He had a fluke injury last year. Why can't he play till he's 38? I mean, Aaron Rodgers is 38. Why can't Russell Wilson play till he's 38?
Absolutely. And George again, because I know I'm not. It's a moot point because he won't come to the Eagles. It's not a moot point because he won't come to the Eagles. It's a moot point because 2 first-round picks are not getting you Russell Wilson. That's why it's a moot point. I want to have the conversation on why so many people are against giving up 2 picks for him, and that's it. If that was the way it went, you got to look. Like you said, Joe, at the beginning of the show, the amount of quarterback needy teams that are out there. You're telling me a team like San Francisco might not be able to beat that deal? A team like, San Francisco is probably going to turn the reins over to Trey Lance, but maybe if they want to make one more run, you're telling me that Washington needs a quarterback? Daniel Snyder has no cares in the world about money or draft picks or whatever. He makes bold moves all the time. Daniel Snyder will throw 5 first-round picks out there if that's what it takes. Carolina, they're in the market for a quarterback. Denver, they're in the market for a quarterback. Pittsburgh, you cannot tell me that you believe the Pittsburgh front office saying that they're okay with Mason Rudolph as their starting quarterback going into next year. That's one of the that is like one of the most bold-faced lies I've heard in ages. No way they care that they want Mason Rudolph as their starter next year. You got Pittsburgh.
Exactly.
I mean, who else?
Exactly.
I mean, we can name a dozen other teams. There's so many teams that need a quarterback that there's no way if Russell Wilson gets traded, and there isn't even a guarantee he gets traded. He said kind of sort of in a roundabout way he wants to run it back in Seattle and whatnot. I don't buy it. I think he still wants to go. But, dude, if there's 5 teams vying for Russell Wilson, there's no way 2 first-round picks gets it done. That's all there is to it. So that's why it's a moot point, in my opinion, not because he won't want to come here. I think if you present Russell Wilson in Philly with a stellar offensive line, a great running game, a young, innovative head coach that doesn't mind running the ball, something that Russell Wilson's best years were when they had strong running attacks, because it helps protect him, helps elongate his career a little bit. A great city, a passionate city. I think you could sell Russell Wilson on coming to Philly. It's, can you outbid the other teams? I mean, what do you think, Joe? I mean, even 3 first-round picks. Well, a team that offers 3 first-round picks, would that – I mean, you got to think teams like Washington and Pittsburgh, and some of these other teams will like way outbid that, right?
I agree. Yeah, I mean, looking at where some of these other teams stand in their front offices, once it becomes a bidding war, I can see them maybe overbidding. And the thing about that is we as as an organization, as the Eagles, we need to. There's got to be like a line thrown in the sand to where they're going to stop adding picks, because then you're going too far, and you're not able to fix the other glaring holes that this team needs. We have a good situation now, but what would it take, and what are we looking at to make it a great situation? You have to walk. You got to walk the line.
Yeah, I mean, he's not going to want to go to Washington. Absolutely, he'll definitely come to Philly over Washington any place. And back to Mark's comment here, if we were ready, look, based off again, this conversation is based around the PFF proposed trade, not what it'll get taken. But if that trade went through, you still got 3 picks in the top 51. You still got Jalen Hurts to trade, because if you bring in Russell Wilson, you're not keeping Jalen Hurts. This trade did not include Jalen Hurts in it. So you still got Jalen Hurts to trade. You could probably get a 2nd or 3rd round pick. There's still going to be $20+ million in salary cap space, to sign free agents. And I got the NFL free agent list, the top 20, 30 of them up on my screen here. You're still going to be able to go get 2 elite guys to add to this team, to improve this team. So this team just was 9-8 with the cap space, with Russell Wilson, with the draft picks we have. They're easily, if all the moves worked out, a 12-win team. So it's not that we're as far away as you think we are with all this. I do agree with Mark said earlier about, the Eagles wanting to go with, more of a cheaper, salary cap friendly, quarterback situation. And I get that, but I don't know. I mean, I still think it's really possible to make it work and make it work financially to still build a really quality team.
Agreed. You had brought up, him maybe wanting to go to Washington, or they might, throw a bunch of picks at Seattle to get Russ to Washington. What about the Giants? The Giants have 2 top 10 picks.
Yeah, and
I mean,
I know Brian Dabble said he's all in on Daniel Jones, but I just like I don't buy the Mason Rudolph talk. I don't buy that talk either. And everybody keeps saying this. Well, we won 9 games because it was a weak schedule. But we won 9 games with a weak schedule with a team that even with that weak schedule, everybody projected to win 4 games.
Right.
Nobody thought they were going to win 9 games. They played well, and they did beat bad teams. But that was not even we knew it was an easy schedule. And nobody. I was the only one that had the only person on the shows that I do that had a 9. I projected a 9-8 schedule or win-loss record last year. No one else coming on my shows was doing that. Everyone was like 4 wins, 5 wins, 3 wins. This team stinks. Jalen, this and that. We still won 9 games, whether it was a good schedule or a bad schedule, when no one saw that happening. No one saw us making the playoffs. Now this team's 1 year newer or more experienced. You got cap space, you got draft picks. You throw in a borderline elite quarterback like Russell Wilson, this team will win games. And if I see Russell Wilson get traded for anything less than what this proposed or equal to this proposed, and the Eagles aren't in on it, it's a major miss. It's a major miss by Howie Roseman.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. So real quick, so I want to bring up. I mean, my man Jimmy Smith on the road to victory. He kept bringing up all the different ways the Eagles can continue to save, because I know we're at about $20 million in cap space right now, but there's so many deals that can be restructured. Like Dirk Barnett. Dirk Barnett will be on this football team as of January or June 1st, because then you save $6 million in cap space by cutting him on June 2nd. Okay. So there's a lot of there's guys like Fletcher Cox. If we restructure his deal, we save a couple $1 million. Darius Slay, restructuring and extending. Heck, there's a way you can restructure Jake Elliott's contract, save $3 more million in cap space this year. You've got, Dirk Barnett. You've got, so many guys. Lane Johnson, a restructured extension. So many ways to move cap space money around this year that it's very easily conceivable. And the cap space doesn't count. Brandon Brooks won't officially sign his retirement papers till after June 1st. Also, that will save you, I think it's $6 or $7 million in cap space. I was just listening to a show before we went live. I should have taken notes on the exact numbers on each of these players. But there's a conceivable way where we go from $25 million in cap space to almost $50 million, just with a few deals.
Right.
So we got $50 million. If we got $50 million, whether Russ comes, whether Russ doesn't come, it's a lot of money to spend. Where are you spending your money? I mean, I'm gonna list off. So the PFF that I'm using PFF's website today just because that's where the tweet went around. So I'm gonna stick with their information. I don't care about the rankings, but they got Devontae Adams as the number 1 ranked free agent. He's not coming to. He's either going to go where Aaron Rodgers goes, or he's going to get franchise tagged in Green Bay. He's not going anywhere else, in my opinion. The next top free agent is the Saints tackle, Terron Armstead. Tackle is not where we're spending our money. Okay, so we can move past that. So their next potential target of a top-tier guy in their ranking system would be Chris Godwin, Buccaneers wide receiver. Everybody's talking that we need a wide receiver. I think we need to draft one, and I think we need to sign a free agent, because we need that much help. We need Devontae Smith and 2 guys. Okay. Yeah. Obviously, George. Nobody stands a chance. It's Green Bay or wherever Aaron Rodgers goes. That's it. That's why we skipped right over that. So Chris Godwin is the first one that intrigues me. No, he tore his ACL. The reports are that it was a clean tear. He should be back for week 1 of the NFL season. You've got some really interesting wide receivers on the list. He's the top 1 in my choice. But you also got Mike Williams, Chargers wide receiver. You also got Allen Robinson, who had a massive down year, and I think would be the cheapest of the top 3 wide receivers. where would you spend your money in free agency wide receiver wise? Or would you not spend it all? Because then there's also the theory that Calvin Ridley is available in a trade. If you're not trading for, Russell Wilson, you go get Calvin Ridley in a trade. So we can even throw that into the equation, because if you trade for him, you're going to re-sign him and extend him, and you're going to renegotiate the contract because he's on the last year of his deal. Would you go Godwin, Mike Williams, Allen Robinson, Calvin Ridley? Where would you be spending your money?
I mean, if we had the money, I'm probably just going to go with Mike Williams, just based on um, the one-on-one ball, his downfield threat. He's a big physical specimen who actually backs it up on the field. We had Alshon Jeffrey here, a few years ago, and he was great. He was great the Super Bowl year. But I miss a guy like that. I miss that, it's 3rd and 8, and you just throw the ball up, and he's going to catch it. He's a reliable receiver. He gets a lot of yards after the catch. He's a high volume guy. But him compared to the rest of those guys, I think he's number one for me. But I don't think you can't really go wrong with an Allen Robinson, a Mike Williams, a Godwin, or a Ridley. Ridley's a little bit on the smaller side, but all he does is produce. We haven't had a free agent receiver, come in and fall out like that since what, T.O.?
Yep.
So, and we went to the Super Bowl. I mean, I'm not saying we're going to go to the Super Bowl, but you can't. It's too risky to just go the draft route. You have to bring in, and you might have to put out some money, but you're paying for.
Yeah, so PFF has the projected payroll or projected contract that these guys will get. Okay,
right.
They've got Chris Godwin at 4 years, $70 million, with $38 million guaranteed. They got Mike Williams at 4 years, 68, with $38 million guaranteed. But then they have Allen Robinson at only 3 years, $48 million, with only $30 million guaranteed. So I'm looking at Allen Robinson because I think Allen Robinson is everything you say Mike Williams is, and I think you're getting him at a discount because he had such a bad year last year. But if you really think about it, he had a bad year because the Chicago Bears were a dumpster fire of a team. Nagy had just tore that team apart. They were starting Andy Dalton 1 week, Nick Foles the next week, Justin Fields the next week, and back to Nick Foles, and back to Andy Dalton. They had no identity, no idea what they're doing. And if you can get Allen Robinson for $15, $20 million a year cheaper, or over the whole contract for less years, and that discount, I think that's the move you make. Right. And if you don't, and people are so against drafting another top 2 round wide receiver, you could go out and get Allen Robinson and still go trade for Calvin Ridley, or go get Allen Robinson and go get somebody else. I know Jason's a big fan of DJ Chark. He's further down the list. Look, you can go get Allen Robinson, DJ Chark, pair them two with, Devontae Smith. All of a sudden, Quez Watkins is your 4th wide receiver, or take a Whiteside, or Greg Ward off the team. Jalen Reagor is your 5th or 6th wide receiver now on the team, and he can just return punts and be a special team. It changes the whole entire offense right there. And also gives Jalen Hurts a much better opportunity to succeed.
Sure. And a veteran, no matter what, you have to bring in a veteran wide receiver. You have to, and they interviewed Devontae Smith about it and said, all it's going to do is make the team better, make the wide receiver room better, and he can actually learn from somebody. Who's he other than the coaching and some of his other teammates who are not good? How is he going to make his game better? Who's going to take him under his wing to show him how to be, how to run his route better, or be more productive on the field, or what aspect of his game that he needs to bring to another level? Who on this team is going to do that?
I agree. So on this free agent list, we agree that there are a massive amount of holes on the Eagles. Obviously, they need so many positions on the defense, and I want to get to Marcus Williams in a minute because he's like my pride and joy of free agent. He's the guy I want more than anybody else. But before we get to him, PFF has somebody ranked 4th on their list of free agents. And I know we just talk about youth and age and the future and this and that. People don't want Russell Wilson because he's 33, 34 years old. Dude, a name that's older, but somebody that is a free agent, and he's going to cost a lot of money, but for a very short contract. Somebody that I want on this team, and nobody's talking about it. He's going to have, how many teams are in the NFL? 30, 32? All 30, 32 of them are going to be after this guy, and that's Von Miller. He's available. We just said we need to bring in 2 wide receivers. We need at least 2 ends because we got nobody that gets after the quarterback. Von Miller, even at his age, is still a very effective pass rusher. Still plays the run fairly well. You get him, you go get one of the top defensive ends in the draft.
Mm-hmm.
All of a sudden, Brandon Graham comes back. You know, you keep developing some of the other guys that we've drafted over the years. Josh Sweat, you still got. All of a sudden, our front 4 might be able to get some pressure on the quarterback. I don't know what your thoughts on Von Miller. I mean, it's going to cost you. PFF has got Von Miller projected at a 2-year contract, $34 million, but 25 of that $34 million guaranteed. That's a hefty. $25 million is a hefty guarantee for a guy his age. But he's still playing at a really, really elite level.
Agreed. He's he shows up in clutch moments. He's the guy that you want, on the field when you need a big stop, you need a big, tackle for a loss or a sack, or just to get the quarterback off from, off his mark. He was huge, when he won the Super Bowl with Denver. He was he was a little bit younger, but they owned that game against Carolina, and to see him go, to the Rams and excel and actually, change a lot of that game. Really between him and Aaron Donald, it was, that's what you need. That's what you need when, you're in a playoff game or you're trying to win a couple extra games to get a better seeding. Guys like that who show up when all the chips are on the table. That's the kind of guy, you want on your team because he's going to make a play at the most crucial points of the game. He's gonna alter games. Sometimes he needs to get double teamed. He gets double teamed. Aaron Donald, winds up being 1-on-1, and you know how that goes. Aaron Donald 1-on-1, forget about it, as we saw at the end of the game in the Super Bowl. My guy that I wanted to just bring up quickly was Chandler Jones, the DN.
He was next on the list right after.
Okay, Chandler Jones from Arizona. But that's, you got to walk the line with that too, because he's younger than Von Miller. How many teams are going to be that have the cap space and the ability to just bring him on? It might become a bidding war when you talk about somebody who's younger.
Yeah, they actually have him projected at the same exact contract as Von Miller, and even actually, but with $1 million less in guaranteed money. So,
I mean, if you had the toss up, and I don't remember their age difference, I'm pretty sure Chandler Jones is a few years younger than him, and his production is ridiculous. You can line him up on both sides of the field. He's power, speed, strength. That would be a kind of guy that I would like, because this team had, besides Brandon Graham, who's your other guy? Who's your other edge rusher that can make a big play when you really need it? A lot of our defensive ends over the last few years have just disappeared. Graham's been the guy, but he's coming. He's 30 now, 30, 31, and he's coming off a major injury. We don't know. Is he going to be ready for game one? How effective is he going to be? Is he definitely coming back? Like, is he thinking about retiring? Like, we don't know that. It's February, so you have to load up with positions of need. And yeah, I would do the 2 DNs. Absolutely. Like, even if I signed the guy.
I'm actually surprised. I actually thought Von Miller, while you were talking there, I Google searched their ages. Chandler Jones is 31. Von Miller's only 32. Kind of feel like
Okay.
Von Miller's been in the league for like 37 years now.
I
I feel like
know,
he was
I
playing with
know.
Lawrence Taylor back in the day. Like
Yeah.
that's how long it feels like he's been in the league. But he's only 32 years old, actually. That's really surprising. So
It is. It
yeah,
is.
it's very surprising. Again, that's not a. I just put it in Google and Wiki came up. So that could be wrong. Wiki could be changed very easily. But that's what I got off of Wiki's page. All right, I want to get to the guy I want, and I say it because I just think. I mean, if you look at the history of this team, they're at their best when they've got a great elite safety. Rodney McLeod, little long in the tooth. But if I'm spending if I can only pick one elite free agent to come to Philadelphia, it's New Orleans Saints safety Marcus Williams. Because if you go back, obviously Brian Dawkins, no one's going to be ever Brian Dawkins level. Then you went to to Malcolm Jenkins and Rodney McLeod. You had some Nate Allens mixed in there, and you had some other guys mixed in there. But if you can't get a leader at linebacker, you need a leader on defense. Marcus Williams, he's still only 25 years old. He's super young. He still plays at an elite level. I mean, that Saints defense was lights out. That's the only reason why they were even remotely good this past year.
Right.
Marcus Williams, he's pretty much able to do everything on the field as a safety. So I absolutely love him. I mean, it's going to cost you 4 or 5 years, $60, $70 million, probably $35 million guaranteed. It's going to cost you, a good percentage of your salary cap. But you get him for I would even up it to 5 years if I had to. You go get a guy that could play your safety position and anchor that defense for the next 5 years.
Right.
That to me, and maybe that's a bias because we've had such great safeties in this city for so long, from the Dawkins, even before Dawkins, the Andre Waters of the world. We've had elite safety play for so long. Maybe we overvalue safety a little bit more than other teams. But because of that, I will literally, if I can only make one free agent move that's a difference maker, it's Marcus Williams.
I can get on board with that. I mean, that position has been key to this team and key to their success. I was upset and disappointed when they let Malcolm Jenkins walk. But that's definitely something that I would be on board with. But like you said, especially since he's so young. Is he the same guy that missed the tackle on Stephon Diggs in the playoff game?
Was he? I don't remember if that was the
Do
guy.
you remember that play?
I remember the play. I don't know if that was him or not. Did you freeze up on me a little bit there?
But yeah, I could see them bringing him on. He's a baller. He's a baller. He's young.
I'm going on.
He's physical.
I do want to get
a ton of upside.
one other name.
I would absolutely do that.
There's one other safety I want to get your thoughts on, because obviously Marcus Williams, he's George is saying it was Marcus Lattimore that was the one that missed the tackle. Okay, gotcha. Thank you. So Marcus Williams, he's the elite of the elite at safety. He's the top free agent at safety. Obviously, a lot of teams are going to want him. So a name that's a free agent, he's nowhere near as elite, okay? Not at all. But he's still a really good, versatile safety, and something that I think could help in the short term over a 2 to 3 year span. And that's Tyrann Mathieu, the Honey Badger, from the Chiefs most recently. And it's a guy we lost Joe there for a second. Are you back there, Joe?
I can't hear you, Phil.
I can hear you. You can't hear me? Try to get back out and get back in if you can. I don't know what happened there. But Tyrann Mathieu, it's another Mathieu. It's a guy that I've been looking at. I've been thinking about. He's obviously a little older. He's not
I'm going to log out and log back in.
Yeah, so Tyrann Mathieu, going to cost you a little bit less than Marcus Williams. Still does a lot of really good things. It's a name that I keep looking at that I think that could really help if you lose out on Marcus Williams, if you can't win that sweepstakes right there. It's a name that I keep thinking about. All right. You back?
We're back. Sorry about that.
All right. I was just talking about Tyrann Mathieu, safety from the Chiefs, as a backup plan to Marcus Williams. The Honey Badger is a guy, he never sticks around. Yeah. He's going to cost you, George, about, from what I've read, over the course of a contract about $15 to $20 million less than Marcus Williams. So I think somebody like him, if you can't get Williams, he's a nice, I don't want to say a placeholder. You get him for 2 to 3 years and then you figure out safety down the line. He still has really strong skill set. He's older, whatnot, but he's a guy that he'll be an upgrade over Rodney McLeod. He'll be an upgrade over Kayvon Wallace or Mark. He'll definitely be an upgrade at the safety position. So he's kind of like my backup. It's kind of like how I secretly want Von Miller. I secretly want Tyrann Mathieu too.
Yeah, I mean he's a consummate pro, and he's another possibility for an anchor back there in the secondary. Won a Super Bowl with Kansas City, and he's still has it. He still is a guy who can really anchor a defense and help that team win. And he's still he's not. I mean, he's a little bit older, but he's still at the top of his game. So I have no issue with bringing in a guy like.
I think the issue with him sticking around, and this is just speculation on my part, is that he's got a personality, a very strong personality that could probably rub a locker room. For the first year, everyone's fired up because of him. The second year, they start to get tired of him a little bit. By the third year, they want him out of their locker room. But on a short 2 or 3 year deal, and let's be honest, NFL deals are, if you sign a 3-year deal in an NFL, it's really a 2-year deal. If you sign a 5-year deal, it's really a 3-year, because a lot of that money, the way they move the money around and the guarantees and stuff like that, nobody plays out their full contract. So if you give him a 3-year deal, you just got to hope he sticks around for 2 years, and then you move on from him. So that's that. The one thing I do notice when I go through the free agent list in the NFL is we keep talking about on draft show, when I'm talking about the draft, about how Harry Roseman he doesn't draft linebackers. He doesn't draft certain positions. And some people say, well, maybe he'll surprise you. Maybe he won't. We need a linebacker, obviously. We need to upgrade at linebacker. Do you know that the best line, according to PFF, now this is just PFF's site, the first linebacker they have listed is at 27. So the 27th best free agent is a linebacker. And it's DeAndre Campbell from the Packers, who he's not even that great of a linebacker. So it goes to show that maybe Howie will be prioritizing linebacker in the draft, maybe, because there is no linebackers available in free agent. If you do not go get a top-tier guy in the draft, then you're going to be forced to run with Singleton and T.J. Edwards and bring in another Eric Wilson type, because that's all that's available in free agency.
Right.
So maybe I'm hoping that I'm wrong and Howie Roseman will flip the script a little bit and maybe draft an early linebacker, because, man, you look at the linebackers that are available, it's a barren wasteland. It really is. So it's something that I've caught my eye and thought about, and yeah, I mean, it's crazy looking how. I mean, I'm going down. I went from 27. I'm on their list. I'm at 40, and I still don't see another linebacker that's a free agent. Jameis Winston's a free agent. He's ranked higher. There were rumors yesterday Juju Smith-Schuster, who is a free agent, the Eagles might have interest in to get him. They had interest in him last year. They didn't get him. But yeah, man. I mean, Steven Nelson is a free agent, and he's ranked it before any second linebacker on this free agent list. I am now at 48, 49. I'm at the top 50 available free agents, and he was the only linebacker listed.
Well,
that's pretty insane to think.
It's pretty sad, actually. The guy that I looked up, and he's not your typical linebacker, Hassan Reddick. He's more of like he can stop the run and he rushes the passer. He's not great coverage, but I know the Eagles have always had interest.
I see the problem with Hassan Reddick, and I love it, and I know a lot of people like him because he's a Temple product and stuff. But he's if you're going to play him at linebacker, it's got to be in a 3-4 scheme. He can't play linebacker in a 4-3, and I don't think he's good enough to play end in a 4-3. I think he's best suited in that stand-up role in a 3-4, kind of, defensive scheme, or a hybrid kind of scheme where he could be standing. I know his name's on the list. I know there'll be people talking about him, and we might talk about him again later this offseason. But I don't know.
Not what we need.
Yeah, it's not the right for what I think. Jonathan Gannon's scheme is. I don't think that's the right fit. I think
Right.
to me, the whole offseason in free agency revolves around Marcus Williams. To me, that's my goal. And then if you want to dip down in the wide, if you're going to go get Chris Godwin and his torn ACL at $40 million guaranteed, go dip down and get Michael Gallup and his torn ACL at half the price if you have to. I don't care. I want Marcus Williams, and that's where my free agent, that's if I'm Howie Roseman, I'm focused on the draft and I'm focused on Marcus Williams. That is, what's going to happen in my opinion. That's what I want to have happen. I mean, in my opinion. Are there any other free agents in the NFL you're looking at? Chris Kirk, DJ Chark, their names I like.
Chark. I mean, I wouldn't have an issue with Chark. Bouncing off what Jason was saying. I mean, all he did was produce on a bad team. Before he hurt his ankle, I think he broke his ankle last year. But he has the size, he has the speed, and we saw his production. He was productive and very good at LSU as well. So I think a big swing and a miss for this team would be to not sign, a top five or six free agent wide receiver. I think you're really hurting your team. You're hurting the team's growth. You're hurting whoever the quarterback is. You're going to be hurting their growth. You have to add a top 5 or 6 wide receiver free agency. There's no way around that. That's probably one of the biggest.
I finally found another linebacker at number 55 on the free agent list. Alexander Johnson from the Denver Broncos, projected to get a 2-year, $14 million deal, $9 million guarantee. Dude, I mean, his weakness is listed: age, sample size, coverage, and space. Dude, you're old and you have no sample size, and you're the second best free agent linebacker available right now. That is going to show how weak the free agent linebacker class is. So if you're expecting an upgrade, guys, at linebacker, it better be in the draft, because it is not coming in free agency at all.
No, Nakobe Dean, the guy Lloyd out of Utah. I mean, those are the two guys that everybody's really been talking about. But defensive end, Jermaine Johnson. I followed his tape and looked at his stats and his production over the years. He fits. 6'4", 6'5", 270. He's got a good motor. He has production. He gets the sacks. He has the tackles for the loss. So he backs it up. He's not, he doesn't seem like a one-trick pony like Derek Barnett kind of turned into being. Once they figured out his bend and his move and this and that, he really wasn't able to. He didn't really have a bag of tricks. He was a one-trick pony. So I think he's, his days here are numbered. But yeah, you got to get to the quarterback. You got to be able to rush the quarterback. So
absolutely.
We'll
I had a list of topics today: football, baseball, basketball, and we went 54 minutes on football here. That was not how I expected it, but that's the way it went. So real quick, for 4 minutes, we're just going to do it. Baseball met again yesterday.
Yep.
And they met for a long period of time. I was hoping there was some progress made so we could talk, Phillies free agent targets when the whirlwind of the rest of free agency begins at the end of the lockout. But man, what is going on? I mean, so they met, they made some progress on Monday, and then Tuesday comes, they meet, the Players Association makes a proposal, they give in a few categories, and then they go further away in other categories. So they're basically back to a standstill. The owners are still wanting a mediator from, a federal mediator, arbitrator, to come in and negotiate. The players keep balking at that idea. I mean, after Monday, I was like, all right, we're getting progress. After yesterday, I'm like, damn it, we might miss game 1 of baseball this year. I mean, I can't say who's at fault, because it seems like to me both sides don't want to give an inch, or they give an inch somewhere and take back a foot elsewhere.
Yep. Yeah, they're all going to try to save face. They're really all going to try to save face because, like we said yesterday, the only ones who really get hurt in all this are the lower tiered players and the fans. Owners are going to make their money.
Yeah.
It's just sad that we're at this point, this far in.
I don't understand what's the issue with the federal mediator. Why are the players so against getting an unbiased person in there?
Right.
Do they fear that the government official, the federal mediator, is just going to be too one sided? I don't know. I mean, it's really odd to me that they're so against it.
Yeah, I mean, their job is to be neutral. Their job is to hear both sides, and put.
They've done it in sports before, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I know they've been used in other situations. It's crazy, and I said it before, and I'll say it again: the people negotiating for the players are the guys making hundreds of millions of dollars, and they can afford to miss a few games. Feel bad for the guys on the minimum salaries making $600,000 a year, which is still a lot of money. Don't get me wrong, but it's still them and what they're giving up compared to what the big guys are giving up. It's kind of a shame. But man, we really got to get this wrapped up. I know they're scheduled to meet again today. I don't know how to go. If yesterday went as bad as I think it went, today's could be one of those 15-minute meetings again, and that's going to be a problem. If that's the way it goes, if they sit down today and both sides just look at each other and say, we got nothing, and that's it. And yeah, if this is, like we said, if it doesn't get wrapped up by the end of the week, it's going to go a lot longer, and then games are going to start getting missed, and that's going to be the problem.
Exactly. I think they have until Monday to where they
28th.
don't.
Is that Monday? Yeah,
Right.
the 28th. All right, we're going to wrap it up there. I really wanted to talk baseball, and I really wanted to talk basketball today. Unfortunately, the Eagles always take precedence, and we really spent a lot of time today. And I'm going to keep pounding the pavement on it because, the Russell Wilson, the Howie Roseman topics, it's not whether they come. It's not physical things. It's the theory behind the conversation that's got me so hyped on the conversation. So we're going to keep talking it all offseason until more certainty happens and as we get closer to the draft and whatnot. And obviously, Friday is the debut. We are one day closer to James Harden playing in a Sixers uniform. I cannot wait. Unfortunately, my James Harden jerseys will not be here yet. I still have not gotten an updating on the shipping. It still says in transit, and it just does not have an estimated date of arrival. I guess I'm not going to be wearing my James Harden jersey in Florida when I go there next week. But anyway, we're going to wrap this up. Trending in the AM right here on DSM Media. Stay tuned. At 10 a.m., Scotty's going to be dropping an interview he did with Austin Krell, NBA Sixers beat reporter. It was pre-recorded, but he's going to be dropping it at 10 a.m. right here on DSM Media. So make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you have the notifications turned on. Make sure you're not missing a second. We are so close to 500 subscribers on YouTube. We need to hit that. So stay tuned. Lots more to come. Jason will be back in the co-host chair tomorrow morning. Sorry, Joe. You're getting kicked to the curb. Jason is back.
All right.
But thank you for filling in as guest co-host these last 2 days. It's been a blast getting to know you and seeing you on here. So hopefully we see you again sometime in the future on the show. Again, Manscaped, the leader in men's grooming products, is the sponsor of DSM Media. The GOAT and below the waist maintenance. Check them out, manscaped.com. Promo code DSM. Get you 20% off, free shipping. Let them know that we sent you. But also, there's so many promo codes out there for Manscaped. Make sure you use your favorite podcast network's promo code, DSM. That way, the DSM gets the credit, not all those other fake podcast networks out there that don't do the work that DSM does. My new hashtag, aim higher. That's what I'm trying to go for. And if you want to sponsor or be a sponsor on DSM Media or just trending in the AM specifically, reach out to me on Twitter, @BeardedKnowledge. Give me a follow on Twitter, @BeardedKnowledge. That way, we can interact and talk, and maybe I can sponsor your product on the show. Again, this is Joe Bucci here, sitting to my side here. You can follow him at Joe Bucci, SB52. We're trying to get him to 2,000 followers right now. Then on to the next level for him as well. Give him a follow. He's Mr. Buchadelphia. Again, thank you very much for joining us. Everybody have a great day. And as we end every show, Joe, go Birds.
Go Birds. Thanks, Phil.